What's up guys, as requested I'm going to review the video called How I Eat Over 10 Pounds of Vegetables a Week, even though I hate them. Idiot.
In front of me is over 10 pounds of vegetables that I will be eating this week. It would be rude if you didn't call me king of the vegetables at this point, even though they are still number 4 ranked on my most up-to-date list of rivals. Here's the deal. I don't like vegetables, but I know I need to eat them for optimal health.
No, you don't. You don't like vegetables because of how they taste and because a lot of them are green, and green food is not food to our senses. Red food is food to our senses, which is of course meat and blood. He also said that he knows that they are good for him, which he doesn't. What you know is what you sense, and you could sense with your sense of taste that something is good for you. All natural food that tastes good is good for you, and all natural food that tastes bad is bad for you. It's that simple. It's just nature. He believes that vegetables are good for him, but he has no idea if that's actually true.
For a number of weeks now, I've been stocking up and prepping a variety of vegetables at the beginning of the week to keep in the fridge. I need to make it as easy as possible for me to get them down the hatch. Let me show you the loot for my little shopping trip this week. Quick shout out to
If you eat food that you need to get down your hatch, then you're eating the wrong food. I don't know how he doesn't understand that.
Willing for sponsoring this week's video. Here's what I got. I said I had over 10 pounds of vegetables this week. Most of that is in these sweet potatoes. Now you can split.
Sweet potatoes are high in oxalates, higher than normal potatoes. They are really unhealthy. Kidney stones are guaranteed.
Hairs and say they're tubers and not real vegetables, but guess what? Reality is whatever I want it to be, and I say these are vegetables. I'll usually gather a variety, Japanese, purple, red, whatever they have available. Next up, I grab 2.
The funny thing is that the Japanese never even eat them.
2 heads of lettuce for my leafy greens for the week.
Lettuce is really just green leaves. Absolutely anti-human food. I can understand why you would argue that maybe you should eat potatoes, maybe you like them. Of course, you cannot eat them raw, but you want to cook them and eat them together with butter, whatever. But you cannot in any way argue that green leaves are edible in any way. There's just nowadays for sure tons of pesticides, which are antibiotics. They will destroy your gut. But even if there wouldn't be any pesticides, and there's just fiber, some anti-nutrients, some poisons, and water. There's not even really any macronutrients. It's just nothing.
These are much easier to eat than spinach or kale is. I grab some carrots.
Easier than spinach and kale because spinach is so disgusting and kale is insanely poisonous. Nobody wants to eat kale. Kale is actually deadly. That's how poisonous it is.
And a bunch of celery that I'll use for my
The carrots are also man-made. They don't exist like that in nature. I've seen natural carrots. They look inedible, and that's because they are full of keratotoxin. These carrots still have keratotoxin, that's why there's some bitterness to them, but they have been cultivated for so long that there's not much left, which is why they even taste somewhat sweet, whereas natural carrots are absolutely bitter. You can actually die by eating them. Celery can cause sun allergy, as in your skin will react to the sun. You will get a pretty severe form of eczema. Especially if you juice the celery, because that's how you will absorb the poison much easier.
Mindless snacking. A few beets that will only be consumed in liquid form because they're the most repugnant vegetable on earth, and then about a pound of mushrooms that I'll toss in my meals throughout the week. One of the biggest keys for me is to get everything
Mushrooms are for sure not vegetables, but whatever.
Washed, prepped, and placed into the fridge. This decreases the amount of friction around normal vegetable prep and increases the likelihood that I will eat them. Let's start with the lettuce.
I'm actually surprised that he has mostly vegetables in front of him instead of some fruits, such as cucumbers, tomatoes, and bell peppers, which is what people call vegetables nowadays.
A number of sensitivities and textural issues around certain foods, and leafy greens happen to be one of those.
Yes, because you're not supposed to eat them. There's no textural or any kind of issues with eating meat.
My cleaning process is probably a bit more involved than it needs to be. Weird leaves, discolorations, or anything else I deem to be unacceptable have to be removed because if I accidentally eat one, it will ruin lettuce for me forever and I'll never eat it again. So I painstakingly inspect every single leaf, front and back, to try to find anything that makes me feel weird when I look at it. Like, what in the hell is this? I don't like that. In fact, I hate it. That's a no-no for me. I don't want to see it. Get lost. Bye. I'm also looking for any bugs and slugs and worms, which in my experience are far more common than you would expect.
It would be the healthiest part of these meals.
I found something crawly 4 times this year alone, sometimes even after rinsing and spinning. which is why I've started inspecting each individual leaf. My cleaning process starts with a rinse followed by a soak just to get anything loose to float in the water.
Some tap water, which comes from sewage waste, is just filtered and boiled sewage water. Oh my god. You cannot, why do you even wash them? You cannot even wash off the pesticides. They are fat soluble. It's oil that sticks to the vegetables. Ah, man.
I spray the tops lightly with some oil, but you don't really have to do this step. And then I throw them in the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit or 240.
Yes, the reason you do this is because it's unnatural food. As I said, you cannot eat them raw. Only eat food which you can eat raw. If you can't, then just don't eat it.
4 degrees Celsius for about 40 to 45 minutes. Next, I chopped up the carrots and celery into snack-sized strips. These are going to be paired with some hummus for me. They are merely calorie-friendly vehicles to get some sort of dip or sauce into my mouth. This week, that happened to be hummus. I make a simple homemade hummus using the food processor or blender, and then I toss it in the fridge with the veggies. It makes for a good boredom snack when you just want to...
I hate celery so much. I almost want to throw up just by looking at it. I know how toxic it tastes.
One of my least favorite kitchen tasks is peeling garlic. My fat, non-dexterous fingers were not made for fine motor manipulation.
Garlic is very poisonous, actually deadly. It's an antibiotic. It will destroy your gut microbiome.
And there we have a week's worth of vegetables packed away and ready to store in the fridge. 10 pounds of them. Easy as that. I'm going to have so many nutrients coursing through my veins by the end of the...
What nutrients? Vegetables are pretty much the least nutritious foods there are, besides seeds. Seeds are the worst, but vegetables have nothing. They have some minerals, yes, along with a lot of toxins, also some anti-nutrients, which will not let you digest and absorb these minerals anyway. There's almost no vitamins. There's some vitamin C if you eat the vegetables raw. Water-soluble vitamins are heat-sensitive. And some plant versions of B vitamins, again, if you eat them raw, almost nobody even does that. There's no vitamins A, D, K2. These are only found in animal foods, especially animal fat and organs. Vegetables are completely useless as far as micronutrients go. It's just pure ignorance to talk about eating vegetables and nutrients.
Now let me show you how I eat these plants. Starting off with the lettuce. I've eaten a Caesar salad every day for weeks now because this Caesar dressing...
So much fiber. Imagine him going to the toilet after. Don't imagine it, but I'm just saying.
We're about to make has rocked my world. I crave it daily. To a blender, add 6 tablespoons or 90 grams of a light oil. I'm using avocado oil because that's what I have on hand. Olive oil works great too. Then add 4.5 tablespoons or...
Avocado oil. Monounsaturated oil. It's better than the polyunsaturated oils. Of course, you should not be consuming extracted oils from a fruit.
58 grams of red wine vinegar, 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of Dijon mustard, 4 large garlic cloves or 15 to 20 grams.
All of these acids are added to fiber because of how hard it is to break down these man-made vegetables, but it's not going to help you much.
A half of a tube or 20 grams of anchovy paste, and then a couple of large pinches of black pepper. Call it 3 grams.
Pretty much all of the ingredients are toxic. Wow.
Worth. If you want this to be creamier, you can also add in an egg yolk. I find that it doesn't...
Yes, a raw egg yolk. That wouldn't save this poisonous meal, but it would make it better.
Need it, so I just screw on the cap and toss it on the blender until it's smooth. I give it a quick taste to make sure the flavors are where I want them to be at, and if I need to adjust anything, I'll add it this step and reblend it. To store the dressing, I transfer it over into a mason jar and keep it in the fridge. It's mainly just vinegar and oil, so this will keep well in the fridge for up to a couple of weeks. Now for the salad. This has been part of my lunch or dinner every single day since Thanksgiving. I can't stop myself from eating it. When I filmed this particular segment of the video, it was day 4 since my original prep date of the vegetables, and my lettuce is still crisp and ready to go. Get out a big bowl, add however much lettuce your heart desires, tear it up into smaller pieces, shake up that dressing and drizzle it over the top, and then toss the salad.
This is how everybody eats vegetables. They always pour a sauce over the vegetables. They bake the potatoes. Anything not to taste the actual vegetables because they taste so bad.
Around to make sure you get an even coating throughout. Another thing I'll keep in the fridge is some salt and pepper chicken breasts that I can chop up really finely and add to the salad.
The chicken is the only healthy ingredient in this salad. And he doesn't even realize it. He believes that he needs to eat vegetables. How delusional can you be? You eat vegetables which have very, very little micronutrients. Chicken has way more micronutrients than any vegetable on earth. Vegetables don't have over 15 micronutrients. Chicken has all of them. Ugh. And he still doesn't realize it. He eats something that he doesn't even want to eat, which has almost no micronutrients, but he still forces himself to eat that. At the same time, he eats chicken, which is what he actually wants to eat. Of course, the chicken is overcooked. It probably doesn't have much left, but raw animal foods have all of those nutrients.
A couple big pinches of black pepper, a healthy shake of grated Parmesan cheese. I wish I
All right, the cheese is also a good ingredient.
could eat croutons to add to this because they'd be a perfect addition, but we've got ourselves a nice Caesar salad. This Caesar dressing is so good that it's gotten me
The only reason you like this meal is because of the chicken and the cheese, possibly also the sauce. That's it. You don't like the vegetables. As you said yourself, you even said in the title that you hate them. For some reason, you don't realize that the lettuce makes this meal unhealthy. If it was only chicken and cheese, then it would be a pretty good meal.
known vegetable hater to eat a salad every day since Thanksgiving. And moving right along. Another thing I've been eating a lot since Thanksgiving are baked sweet potatoes.
I wonder what he believes he will get out of lettuce when it's literally just pesticides, water, and fiber. There's just nothing.
I forgot how good these were. Once you have them baked, you can crack open your container, pull it out, and microwave it to reheat. I'll cut it in half to open it up, score the inside, and then reheat it for about a minute to a minute and a half. You can go either sweet or savory with these. Either way, I'll take about a tablespoon of butter and slip it in between the cracks to allow it to begin to melt.
Okay, that's great. Again, the butter is the healthy ingredient, just like the chicken and the cheese were the healthy ingredients in the last meal.
On this day, I had just finished my regular lunch and I wanted something a bit sweeter to act as my dessert, so I drizzled over some honey and just a little bit of salt to finish it off.
Honey nowadays is full of glyphosate, especially some kind of garbage honey from plastic. You could get proper honey, but it's hard.
When I decide to go savory on these, I skip the honey and I just go flaky sea salt over the top of the butter and sweet potato. Baked and buttered sweet potatoes. Very underrated. The mushrooms got used throughout
That's how a lot of people eat them. It's not underrated, it's pretty common.
the week in whatever random cooking I happened to be doing. One day that was a chicken breast with some garlic butter.
Again, the chicken would be the healthy part of this meal, and the mushrooms are completely useless at best. Mushrooms, again, don't have any micronutrients, completely useless as far as nutrients go, and they are cooked anyway, which means that everything is destroyed already, and you could actually get some fungus out of it, as in a fungus which is not supposed to be in your body.
Butter mushrooms. Another day I used them in a stir fry after I got home from the gym and I just needed something quick to eat. In addition to my fresh vegetable prep, I also make sure to buy a couple of bags of frozen vegetables for extra variety. This stir fry
Broccoli is on it. Broccoli, of course, also doesn't exist in nature, needless to say. Broccoli, kale, cauliflower, kohlrabi, all of it comes from cabbage. Cabbage is the root of these vegetables. They were created out of cabbage. They are man-made. It's just absolute nonsense. Broccoli became popular in the 90s, essentially. Nobody ever used to eat broccoli before that. This whole thing is just stupid.
blend from Whole Foods has been my favorite as of late. For this meal, I browned up some turkey, added the mushrooms, stir-fried in those vegetables, and then I made some glass noodles with sesame oil, soy sauce, and
If you would simply eat the turkey without all of these poisonous vegetables, then it would be a healthy meal. You're just ruining all of your meals.
honey, and then I topped it with the meat and vegetable mixture. The contents of the wok got flavored with a teriyaki-style sauce. I don't have a recipe for any of this. I was freestyling with what was in the fridge and the freezer to give me a quick meal after I got home from the gym. And lastly, the dreaded beets. I only eat these in beet shake form. Having to chew and swallow these to eat them would be a death sentence to me. That's torturous. I could never do it.
Why do you eat them at all?
They are so disgustingly bad, but their high concentration of nitrates is good for my blood pressure and heart, and I've determined that to be a good enough reason for me to...
It's actually funny how they always talk against nitrates because they are ready to process meats, especially the vegans. But when they are found in vegetables in large quantities, then they are all of a sudden super good for you.
consume them anyway. I said earlier that I don't peel or cut these in advance because they're a mess. They stain everything in sight, which is why I have a red cutting board to cut them on. Be warned that these will destroy anything porous that they come into contact with. I try to eat about 100 grams a day, so to my blender I'll add 100 grams of the chopped beets and then about a half of a cup or 120 grams of diluted apple juice. It's roughly a 50-50 mix of apple juice and water. Last to get added is 2 tablespoons or 30 grams of lime juice. The bitterness helps to take away the dirt flavor from the beets.
He gets all of these vegetables in the raw form, does all of this work, but then adds apple juice from a plastic container, pasteurized juice.
I blend that all until it's smooth, pour it into a glass. I take a deep breath and contemplate the suffering I'm about to put myself through and throw it down the hatch. All of this is how I became king of the
Why are you so stupid?
vegetables. I still don't like them, but I'm trying to become better at forcing myself to eat them. Prepping everything in advance to keep in the fridge has been the best strategy.
Do you understand that you're the definition of a slave? You force yourself to do something that you don't want to do? That's self-enslavement.
I have found in order to help me achieve my goals. Start small, begin with one vegetable at a time, and work up to where you want to be. If you're looking for more help with meal prep, check out these videos linked here.
It's just painful how incredibly dumb he is. I recommend watching my video called All Vegetables Are Unhealthy, which I will link in the description, where I go more into the missing nutrients and generally why they cause so many health issues. The point of this video was more so to highlight how all of these slaves who eat vegetables understand deep down, and in this case, they just consciously understand that vegetables are bad for you. You hate them, you don't like the taste, you don't like anything about them because, as I said, they don't exist in nature, which means that they are not part of our natural so-called diet. We are not naturally supposed to eat them. We don't like anything about them. What we like to eat is meat, and what we like to drink is blood or milk as children. Of course, nobody has access to these foods nowadays, raw milk or blood, just forget about it. It's so hard to get it, but humans who do have access to it love it. They cannot get enough of it. It's just insanely good. There's nothing better out there that you can drink, but he just doesn't get it. He drinks apple juice from plastic containers. Maybe he juices some other stuff, the beets, of course. Then he puts a sauce over the lettuce, bakes the potatoes, covers everything up. It's just typically what everybody who eats vegetables does. It's what all of the vegans do. It's you living in absolute denial, being delusional, enslaving yourself. It's absolute misery. It causes health issues. It doesn't get any worse. Ugh, it's just disgusting to look at. Thanks for watching.